All right, so last week we started out on, and if you missed out on last week class, no problem. We were putting out, we're is it holding some of our classes before, not because we want to hold them, but intentionally because we don't want to put some of these master classes out there. But last week classes on our YouTube channel at Beyond the School World, you can just under the Skillots Masterclass replays playlist, and you can just familiarize yourself with what happened last week. But basically, what happened last week was simply trying to explain, bring to bring out the concept of offers. Now we spoke about how you know that there's a big difference. Let me just do a simple recap so that we have a beautiful understanding before we jump into the class tonight. There's a difference between sales, making sales, and marketing, basically. And if there's a course I've been pushing into in recent times on a more advanced level, because I recently found out, and when I mean recently, not yesterday, I recently found out that the only kind of skill an average person, not only, forgive me to use that word, but the most important kind of skill an average person needs to know, especially if you're building, it doesn't matter even if you're offering your services or you are, developing a product or anything, you must understand these two stuffs very carefully. And in the last class, we talked about the economies that rule the world. Basically, we only have three economies, not to talk about, all the different sectors and everything, industries, but we have the product economy, we have the service economy, and we have the knowledge economy. Every industries and sector, bridges under these three. If you're not selling a product, you're offering a service, forgive me, or you are into the knowledge economy. You have to be in one of these three. You can be in two, 2/3, fine. You can do 3/3, good, but you must, reflect in one of these, because this is, this is where you create offers, or this is what you create offers with. So it's either you're selling a product or you're transacting a product, you're transacting services. That means I don't like using selling your skill. That looks like slavery, But you are, exchanging your services, for resources, or you are exchanging knowledge. And when I mean knowledge does not only come in the, there is in the knowledge economy, there is knowledge. Forgive my handwriting. I'm rushing. We're far behind time. There is knowledge as information, and these are people that sell information products. You know something, and you believe someone else should know that stuff, and you put a value on that knowledge. Then this is, of course, that is what some of us do. You know something, an average person, and this is one thing about the knowledge economy. There is always this. I'm just saying this to one or two persons that thrive in this economy. There is always this. What do you call it right now? This imposter syndrome that comes with being in this economy. Why? Imposter syndrome just is a mental stuff, that's not a mental disease. It's just this state that you believe, am I worthy enough to do this stuff? You see, so forgive me to use your but am I worthy enough to do this kind of stuff? Are there not much more better people than myself to do this kind of thing? The reason that happens, especially, it happens more with the knowledge economy. It happens in every other facet of life, but more with the knowledge economy, because we live in a world right now that there is evenly dissemination of information. That means if you're looking for anything right now from the from your smartphone right now, you can get access to almost any information at the surface level. Oh dear Jesus, I don't mind me when I will start teaching on, there is a pyramid of information. Basically, I teach this on our magnet school. There is the base level, that there is a generic information that everybody knows. I think Bishop David Oyedepo said something beautiful in this regards. He said, if you have common knowledge, you're going to have common results. But people have common knowledge. I mean, there is a generic level of information that everybody knows. Does it make a lot of sense? And there is an information that only the top 1% of the world knows. This one is no longer information. This is now intelligence. For the major part of my life, let me say major, when I had more sense, when, I got this work that's beyond the school wall. And, the whole thing was all wrapping around intelligence. And, I was young. I didn't really understand most of these things. So I gave myself thorough diligence of study on the only intelligence organization that I know, and which is the CIA. Don't mind me. I just was trying to learn up. So I gave myself to study the Central Intelligence Agency, and one thing I found out that, information, I found out a whole lot of stuff, of course, public information, I went to work with them, that, people don't go to war or make extractions or, assassinate or do anything until they have specific intelligence. They don't have information, because generic information can, and most times, is wrong. So most times people have base level of knowledge or base level of information, forgive me, and they think, oh, but I know this stuff. It's just like if you ask an average person right now on what topic seems very, easy, not easy in the sense of it. Let's say, let me even, I don't know what topic to say, but let's say marketing. That's the only thing coming to my head right now. If you ask an average person, do you know what marketing is? Everybody will say yes. They say, marketing. And you know how people can be. And I used to say this, these statements a whole lot to some of our students, especially on the magnet school. I would say, many of the words people use and people know, they didn't learn them directly. It's a proper, research around the English language that, 70 to 80% of the words you use daily, you didn't sit to learn them. You learned them by passing. Either you learned them, from someone that said it, you learned it from a movie you saw, you just learned it, outside of studying it directly. So you learned it in context. You learned it in the context in which they used it, not in the context in which it is defined. So people learn things from the context of, from the perspective of context usage, not from the perspective of definition and etymology. So people know words by, usage, not definition. And if you ask someone what is marketing, they say, marketing, marketing. And you know how people can be very arrogant with and say marketing. Is it me you're asking marketing? Marketing now. And ask the person, what is marketing? You say marketing now. Marketing, you don't, are you telling me? And people can try to, use reverse psychology on you. Don't tell me you don't know what marketing is. I'm asking you that what is marketing? You get the whole idea, and it's just going to be terrible. The same word, check yourself, ask, words like, it got so bad that I started asking myself, do you even know the meaning of meaning? Forget say you use them. What is the meaning of meaning? And that's why I love, etymology so much. I study up on etymology. It doesn't matter how simple the word is. I want to know the etymology. I want to know how the word came to be and the real definition of the word, not just the usage of the word. Okay, I think I've digressed it, a whole lot. Don't mind me. I'm sorry. Okay, so back to the imposter syndrome thingy. So it happens because everybody has, that surface level information. So everybody in this economy believes, well, what do I want to tell people that they don't already know? But I'm happy to tell you that there is a whole lot to tell people that they don't. I mean, there is a whole lot. Because if people already know, everybody should be making the result of the 1% of the world. I say this to some of our students. If you know what Bill Gates, I used to say something to myself. Let me say, if you know what Bill Gates knows, you will make his results half the, the duration, or even less than that, the duration it made him. It took him to make that result, because everything, as results thrives on knowledge, which makes the knowledge economy the most powerful economy in the ecosystem. But is the most, how will I put it now, the most looked down upon, because everybody say, he's selling books online, or he's selling a course, or he's selling a class, and they're like, oh, move on, you're not yet serious with your life and destiny. And you're like, if only you know what is in that stuff, then you will know the kind of results, you'll be able to make with that kind of stuff. Does it make a lot of sense? Okay, let's go on. Now, in the knowledge economy, there is knowledge as information and there is knowledge as data. I don't want to start teaching. These are things we teach on the magnet school anyways, but I just, I just feel like saying this more about the knowledge economy anyways. there is knowledge as information. Of course, that is what we just spoke about right now, the the pyramid of information. Then there is knowledge as data that is tradable. And this is more, let me say, this is more organizational. Every organization is looking for data because decisions are made on data, not made on hearsays. So an average organization, wants to make, decision, and then they don't have data, but yet there are people, oh dear Jesus, there are people that sell classified, and it's crazy how the knowledge economy works. There are people that sell classified, and I don't mean maybe news on where Boko Haram is living, I mean classified data. And it's not so much of classified data like we're thinking. I mean access. There was a platform I think I shared in the last class, access to emails of C-suite executive. The question is, where did you get that email from? But they are cleaned, cleaned emails of C-suite executives. So that means organization that is looking to, maybe could email this class of people, you already have something that they need. I was saying it in class last week that where the real money is, actually more in this ecosystem and in this digital phase that we are, most persons don't know. Everybody is trying to still lobby around the already saturated part of the whole thing. And the little thing that look like is where the real, how do they say, the pot of gold is. I know I think I shared it with the people in the class last week. There is a website, I had to know about that website because I was doing a work with an organization and we desperately needed emails. That was the first time in my life I found out that they sell emails. I was like, one man time email, and you get that kind of stuff, and you don't want to know how much chunk of resources was paid to those people to get access to those email lists. Does it make you sense? And it's a structured business for someone. This is what people pay people to do for them, and then they hire staffs, and how they get their data, only God never knows. But I think I figured it out because there's nothing that will skip me. In the name of Jesus, I figured out, there are two ways to actually get people's emails, basically. But even with the advent of AI itself, it's almost very easy. But do we understand? I just have to do that recap so that we understand. Now, in all of this economy, making sales is a product of the offers that you create. You don't make sales because of, you don't make sales just by being, and I said this, that marketing gives you visibility, not sales. What gives you sales is offers. Are we still together? Marketing gives you visibility. If you want to be visible, beautifully create a marketing strategy. But this is not the funny thing. After creating the marketing strategy, you have to create offers. Offers is what generates sales. And so we started talking about some sales offer model that of course generates sales. That was what we were last week before we finished the class. We couldn't finish on it, and oh dear, that's Katado. All right, I will have to get off my screen for one moment. I apologize about that, everyone. All right, so we divided this into three, the three economy we spoke about. So the product economy offer, and this is I was saying in class last week that this model, because this year I've been so crazy about building models, and it's strictly because of an instruction and something that very beautiful. So I've been so crazy about building models, like crazy about it. So this is one of the models that was built. I actually had no intention of teaching how to create offers publicly. Let me be honest. I had no intention of teaching it publicly, but the more I worked on this, because I actually built this model to use it personally, especially for all of the expressions of our work in this time. And fortunately for us, we have expressions in every economy and all of that. So I was building the model to fit for myself and then the people that work with us in the expression of work and all of that. But then I just thought, okay, why not just make this thing public? So This is a product of a lot of work. So let's get to work. So we have the product economy offer framework. Then the product economy, works more with the value in hand model. Then we have the service economy offer framework. This is the value in use model. Then we have the knowledge economy offer framework, which is the value in mind model. Yes, so those are the three things we're going to consider. We already did this in the last class. We already did for the value in hand. I don't know. Let's just run through it. For more detailed, you can just listen to the previous class on YouTube. Okay. Value in hand model. This focuses more. Now, this is in creating offers. Sorry, but let me increase this a little bit. This is more about offer creation. Okay, great. This is more about offer creation. Does it make a lot of sense? So, you focus on tangibility, functionality, packaging, price perception. So when you have a product, you have a product you're trying to put into the market, it doesn't matter what kind of product that is. When you're creating offers around that product, one of the focus actually has to be around tangibility, functionality. This we explained in the last class, packaging, price perception. Funnily, many of the things we're going to be teaching in tonight's class are all excerpts from our economics textbook. Literally, I used to say this, and I'm a firm believer in this, that many of the things we're struggling to learn today, if we had paid attention in secondary school, we would have learned them. Many of the things you had the basic information. Of course, on our magnet school, many of the things we teach are functionally from the basic textbook, economics, physics, chemistry, biology, those things, and we teach industry integration with economics and physics, which is crazy because, of course, it's true. For instance, in physics, there is a law called the law of flotation. I know it works with, water and all of those things, but one thing I know about the law of flotation is that if you understand the law of flotation, there is something you will know about keeping things afloat, especially businesses, which of course is truth. Yes, I can't explain it literally, logically to make sense, but I know these laws are not just physics laws because there is E equals mc square. They are laws because they are the word physics is from the from the root word means physical, and there are physical laws that bound the physical geography of the world. So it's not like it's a physics law because it's mathematical. You get what I'm trying to say, which is why I recently loved physics and mathematics, and I've been pushing for it so crazily, for real. And now I don't even know if I'm a science student again or not. All right, let's move on. So we have the stages, we have the components, we have the descriptions. So come on, can I rush through this? 950. Okay, let's just try it. So core utility. So and this is one thing about creating offers. I learned this from my model, Oluwatomisin. There is something beautiful that I learned from him and around creating offers. He would say something like, that when we pray these prayers, give us this day our daily bread, that part of the scriptures. And there's also another part of the scriptures that we use, God that daily provides us, or daily provides us with benefits. I believe that's the scripture, right? Everybody uses this, prayer, this portion of the scripture, and then they are expectant and waiting on a miracle to happen, literally. But he would say something: if you want that prayer to answer effectively, then you must create offers. If God daily loads you, then you must create offers daily. So that means if you're creating offers daily, it doesn't matter how you do it, you must have a spreadsheet that has 365 unique offers of what you are putting out there. Are we together? Because if you don't create those offers, doing things like come and buy from us today is not an offer, it is marketing. People see it and like, oh wow, amazing, I'm ready and trial, and they move on. Things like, I'm a digital consultant, especially on, I'm not so very, very, good with LinkedIn, and it's a perception issue. So when I first joined LinkedIn, I think that was some years back, I figured that everybody on LinkedIn used to lie. especially about qualifications and all of those things. And it just looked like a line application to me, like, because you see somebody just tell you he has 14 different something, he just graduated from something, and you're like, well, don't mind me. You're like, I don't bear witness with what this person is saying. This thing looks like a lie, And when I figured out that's what everybody was doing, or most persons were doing, I just like, you know what? No be me and this application. So I opted out of it. And the funny thing is, with everybody that's been trying to convince me to go back to it, I just need to remember that stuff. I've been trying, and I'm not kidding. I think beyond the school wall is now making me so conscious about the whole thing. Now I want to go back. Now I think I'm not fully convinced yet, but I want to try again. I really want to try again. Like, I want to try again, but I know. That's why I don't do TikTok. I struggle to do Instagram. I can't even remember my Instagram login details anymore. It's only beyond the school that is active on Instagram. Facebook, I think I'm so comfortable with Facebook because Facebook is a community, and that was what I grew up with. It's funny how I so much advocate for digital stuff, and I'm not everywhere, but I'm on the places that matter. Yes, for real, yes, like the places that matter. Okay, let's move on. So, even on Instagram, you don't just push out, yourself right there. You push out, you create more offers. I don't know how the place works, but one thing I know about how the world works is it is when you put offers out there, people want to participate, because you can't just say I'm a digital consultant and nothing. So the question is, in proper marketing, is called CTA. So what's the call to action? What do you want people to do after they, don't never let people leave, because this is one thing, my model would always say, he would say something like, and he said this in a more religious perspective. He would say, when I have an interaction with someone, it might be the last interaction I'm going to have with that person. I want to leave that person with an impression. So, I invert that word, because when I have an interaction with someone, and I think most of my interaction are more physical than digital. I advocate for digital a lot, but I think it's not. Well, they say coaches don't play anyways. So I'll hold on to that. I'll use that quote as mine. I'll use that one to hold the body. In physical interaction, does well for me more, literally, because I don't think I want to live a real in-depth conversation without throwing in an offer that will make you want to, reach out later on. Especially when I know, this thing is, is not. This is a work kind of relationship. There must always be something that that first conversation must leave you with something. And it's not like I throw worth around, and it's not pride either. It's not pride to be vocal about what you do. And whoever says it is, maybe they need to be broke for some while. It's not pride to push out. I was on the streets of Facebook earlier today, and someone said something very funny and said, you are in an elevator and Bill Gates walks in. What are you going to do? And I saw, and those kind of things, I like reading the comments, because people, have you ever wondered, you're like, how am I on the same planet with this person, with the way this person thinks? And people just I think it's a knowledge problem anyways. People are like, Bill Gates, Bill Gates, they're like, they will ask him how far can he drop something for the boys. People are like, can he be adopted? And I'm like, really? Somebody said he's going to do an elevator pitch. What is the elevator pitch you want to do? Everybody had their opinion, which was beautiful, but what I'm trying to pass across is, you're meeting someone, especially if it's a work relationship, and it's not like people are busy, and then I don't like that stuff. And whenever I attend events, which I don't attend often, you don't just run around people call it networking, but sometimes that thing can be quite infuriating. You just run up to somebody, there is no ground-based conversation. Just say, hello, this is what I do. Now that's no offer. That's one, I don't know what it is. But there has to be, a background talk. That's why I would never pitch my offers to someone that we didn't have time to talk. You can't just, say in 10 minutes or 5 minutes, let's quickly talk. No, crucially, when it's not that I'm working this, there has to be, it's not like a 1 hour thing either, but meeting someone for the first time, there has to be a level of comfortability. That's why I think we're going to teach a class on communication anyways, on finding common grounds to first start a conversation on. But let's move on. All right. So we have stages, we have components, we have description. So in creating offers, so this is 7 offers, 7 different kind of offers, can be multiplied, can be broken down into more subsets, and then you can keep creating maybe day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, keep breaking it into subset and all that. So core utility, you're creating offers around this core utility. So it's a product, let's say the stylus pen I'm using right now. Okay, that's the product you're trying to sell. So the offer number 1 is the core utility, what you're selling. You are not selling the stylus pen, because this is one thing about offers. When you create offers, you move away from selling the product or selling the services to selling the function. Does it make a lot of sense? So you want to sell tangibility, you want to sell function, you want to sell package, you want to sell price. You're not selling products, because people have a defense mechanism in their head. It's a normal sales thing. People do not like to be sold to. When you attend a sales class, they will tell you people don't like to be sold to. Everybody pulls up a defense mechanism when they are being sold to. Even you yourself don't like being sold to, because nobody wants, virtue to leave them, in brackets, money. Nobody likes money leaving them. Everybody likes money coming to them. So if you're saying, I have this stuff, you say, oh, no, I don't, not now, Jerry boss, I'm not now. The only reason why someone wants to buy that stuff is if it is value to them. And it is only value to them when you sell these things, not when you sell the product. Because in actual sense, nobody actually needs the product. They need what the product can do. Nobody needs you, in quote. I used to tell myself something, actually, especially when you get into the marketplace is very bloody. Nobody needs you, Oluwatomisin. Nobody needs you, in quotes. The only person that needs you is the wife you marry one day and your children, and God help you with very beautiful friends. What they need is what you can offer. So don't always be so peculiar about who you are. Be peculiar about what you can do. And I was where extracted this principle from is the story of Joseph and his family. So when Joseph brought his family into Egypt, all of that, and he was going to introduce his family members to Pharaoh, he told them and he said, in the way I interpret it, because on the magnet school, we treat the Bible as one of our study book, as an innovative material. We pick most of our innovative strengths from the scripture. Okay, how I interpret that stuff is, don't talk about you. Forget you. Say, well, my name is something. I'm from the lineage of something. I'm from the lineage of Abraham. You just forget that one for 1 minute. He said, tell him you guys are this kind of people. You are headsmen. Because people don't need you, in quotes, in brackets, is when you get into, then they can now see the uniqueness of what you are, and that's what keeps you forever. But in the context of this class, for the offers we are creating and all of that, let's move on. Core utility, let's imagine stylus pen. Come on, time is fast spent. So you're selling, what is the component of utility? So what problem does the product solve? This is what you're selling as an offer. So you're selling this stylus pen now. The question is, what problem does this stylus pen offer? So the description of that is focus on functional benefits, performance, quality, convenience. So for day 1, I can talk about the functional benefit of stylus pen, and I would target more of teachers that want to start teaching online, students that want to start using, digital, what is it called, taking notes, with their tablet or something. You're focusing on artists that needs this stuff. So those are the people you want to sell functional benefits to. We are not selling a stylus pen to you, we are selling function to you. Does it make a whole lot of sense? So whatever content you want to create has to be around this. Whatever copy you want to create has to be around this. You're selling that, and you're saying to it, because, should I tell you one very funny thing? Your offer is the same product, but your offer will not be to the same people. This is one thing about marketing. So people, they will tell you your market has a niche, which is true, and they will tell you cannot sell to everybody, which is true. But I found out you can sell to everybody, because everybody needs this stuff. That's why I said they don't need the product, But somehow, because if you focus on stylus pen, you would only focus on people in the education industry. But do you know that there are individuals in the financial industry that will want to buy your stylus pen too? There are people in the creative industry that want to buy your stylus pen too. There are people in the even marketing industry that want to buy your stylus pen too. But if you are focused on, oh, it's only students and teachers that can buy the stylus pen because I don't know my fair teach, and you just leave it on that and you just say, well, let me just sell to teachers alone. You're going to leave a chunk of resources on the table and you're out of the market. You can sell to anybody or everybody. It's only your offers that matters. Let's move on. You're selling product differentiator. Remember, you've sold, it's just different offers. What makes it different or better? What makes your own stylus pen? Because people will tell you, why should I buy yours? They will not ask you directly, but it's a question people have in their head. That is why people always look for. It is a normal psychology in people's head. Don't always buy from the first place you ask from. But what if you are the first place they ask from, and they already have this mindset in their head, they will go to the next person? What would you say about what makes yours different, that even if they go to the next person, it keeps ringing in their head and they'll have to come back? It has happened to you many times too. Let's make this more practical. So you went to the first store, you want to get something, you went to the first store and you spoke to the person, and the person said something, about their own kind of product. It's the same product, but they said something about their own kind of product, and you're like, wow, and you left. You went to the next store, but what that person said is ringing. So you automatically, what happens is you will see other products lesser. So this happened recently to me. I was at the computer village. I wanted to get a gadget and all those things. So we first went to, of course, a very, renowned store, and then we wanted to buy that particular store. So we already bought the gadgets, but wanted to buy an accessory to that gadget. Okay. So we went to the first, massive store. So the lady was very convincing. Come on. I was like, God, I beg, She was like, if we step out of this store, we will get this product. And that is where you want to impute price strategy to. Because the price at that store was expensive. But she said, you will see this product lesser, but you are not going to get original. Because I don't understand how you are telling me I'll see the same product, but it's not original. It just did something to my head. So when we stepped out of the whole thing and we started going to stores inside building under the staircase. So when they were bringing out the same product, it was cheaper, but it was ringing up in my head. And I was telling the person I went to, I was like, see, I think it's that first place we'll go to. I know it's expensive, but I'm not feeling like these people are going to cheat me. Because what they just did is product differentiator. It's the same product. You are offering the same service. You're a graphic designer. There are thousands of graphics designers right now, because everybody does their own graphic design right now. So what is going to differentiate you as a graphic designer without making it complex and complicated? Because that's what people do. Instead of telling me what, and we're going to get there in service, instead of telling me what differentiates you, you make it more complicated. So the person say, well, I'm not just a graphic designer, I'm also a brand concierge. And you're like, God, I beg. I'm not looking for brand anything. I just need someone that's going to help my organization with graphics. And like, see, it's beyond the graphics. And don't make it, that is why people lose out on it. Don't make it complicated. Create offers. Moving on. Time is gone. I don't want to solve a part 3 to this. I'll just run away. So when you talk about product differentiator, you want to talk about design, you want to talk about features, material, tech integration, or origin story. Let me just rush. Number 3, perceived value amplifier. How do you make it look, sound, worth more? Like, it's the same product. How do you make it look, sound or worth more? That people want to now get that. So, because everything is actually perceived value. Somebody said, buy a shoe, no label on it, put it on the market, and put maybe $5 on it. Nobody's going to buy that shoe. Everybody keeps looking at the shoe and passing by. That same shoe, just put maybe Nike logo on it. That same shoe, which of course is manipulation, and many people do it in the marketplace. I don't advise that you do that. You don't never manipulate people through offers. They put Nike logo on it and put that stuff at $150, and people start asking. I say, sorry, how much is that? She go buy 145. The same shoe. Because everything in life is actually built on perceived value. And this thing also works on service providers, or works for service providers too. And maybe that is okay. Maybe that's why everybody on LinkedIn is lying, because everybody's trying to up their perceived value. Oh, I see. It just makes sense now. Forget that I'm not teaching the class. it just made a lot of sense. Wow. Okay, now I forgive everybody. Okay, let's move on. How do you make it look, sound, worth more? Testimonial, scarcity, storytelling. Okay, moving on. Packaging and positioning. Sell packaging and how do you make it feel physically and emotionally? Aesthetics, brand messaging, shelf appeal. I said this in the last class. Many people buy a lot of stuff because how it will look like in their house, or how it will look like. People buy stuff to keep, and they just want to buy stuff on how it will make. See, people. I said this. I was listening to the class again. I was like, I used to say rubbish. People buy crazy stuff. Literally, people buy crazy stuff. Literally, and they just buy it. I just bought this shoe so that I can put it on my shoe rack. And then when people see it, they will admire it. You never said that I bought it so that I'll wear it. All right, moving on. Price strategy. Is the offer priced to convert or to impress? They are pricing that are priced to impress. People would rather not buy certain stuff because the price is lesser. People buy certain things because the price is higher, because they want. And this is what's it called? The iPhone ecosystem sells. They sell you expensive so that you look like, if there is nothing to brag about, you brag about the price. Does it make you say? You can't say you bought an iPhone for almost over $1 million and then you are not bragging about the price. You are not talking about, what's it called? Maybe a techno phone. So there's a way you look down. You will look down on a techno user and say, oh, all these peasants. You know how much I bought my iPhone, because and it's a strategy, it's an offer. Okay, cost-based, value-based, psychological pricing, discounts, etc., etc. Purchase incentive, what makes people buy now? Limited time bonus, sell limited time bonus, sell free delivery, sell cashback, sell urgency triggers. Oh dear Jesus. Post-purchase hook, what keeps them coming back or talking about it? Loyalty card, product registration, warranty, or community. I heard about a car. I'm not so sure which of the cars is it right now, but they only sell that. They sell the cars. I learned this from. I don't know what I was watching that day, but there is the cars are expensive, but they are sports cars. So the entry level car, anybody can buy it. You can buy the entry level car, but they started making. I don't know. Is it the Lamborghini? I'm not sure. So the normal is there any even normal Lamborghini? The entry level Lamborghini, anybody can buy it. But then they now have an upgrade or a new kind of Lamborghini that you can only buy that car if you are a member of the Lamborghini family or the Lamborghini community. You can't buy if you are not a member. Even if somebody refers you, you have to be a member to be able to purchase them. When I was like, when I first listened to that stuff, the African in me arose. I had to suppress him back because I'm like, Lord, you win, but Lord, you win, no, watch him on it and say, because they are not trying to sell cars. The reason why they can push the price so high and tell you this stuff is maybe $500 million, they are not selling, because do you know the worth? When you tell people, I'm part of the, maybe, I don't know how it feels to people, but I'm part of the Lamborghini. I don't know if it's Lamborghini, forgive me right now. I just hope I'm saying the right thing, because this class will be on YouTube very soon. I'm part of these cars, membership. I know it gives them one kind of rank and class. That is why people pay that huge amount of money to buy it. They are not people will shift from buying products to buying what it gets them. And that thing that gets them is called the offer. And that's what you are supposed to be selling instead of the product. That's for product. Let's move on to service economy. Come on. I think I'll just take service economy. We won't be able to do knowledge economy, and I don't think I want to come back with a particular in this class literally. Value in use model. This is the service economy. Value in use model. The focus of this model is experience, outcome, personalization, and trust. People would want to employ your services, forgive me to use the word employ, or have your services on board. Experience, and experience is not always most time tied to years, and that is the lie that the what is it called? Yes, experience comes with years, but I believe experience comes with work too. So most times the experience you want to sell should be on the number of projects you have worked on, not on the number of how long you have worked. Is the job economy or the job stuff that made us look as it has to be years. So you have to be like, you know how long I've been in this industry. I'm a veterinary. About this, that kind of is beautiful. They respect elders in the industry. Salute them and buy them ice cream. No, the elders don't drink ice cream. Buy them wine. But the experience comes with the number of projects you've handled. So in recent times, we're doing an onboarding for some of the admin is here before I go and say what I'm not supposed to say. But we're doing an onboarding for some of the guys that new interns and recruits that we're having in our institution recently, and we're talking. They were interviewing some of them. I wasn't in the interviews, but I was in one of the interviews. I think just the first day, and I had to join because of some issue. So I was glad I joined. I was glad I was part of that interview on that first day. I wasn't saying anything. I was observing, and when they were asking people, what are your experience? I literally that day it just dawned on me that people don't know how to. Let me use the word woo. I know it's only a lady we can woo, but you don't know how to woo employers with. People think numbers of years is going to automatically make you. I'm even more skeptical, especially for someone like me that is very innovative. I'm more skeptical about you spending, X amount of years on it, and you have not thought about doing your own. Or you get that kind of stuff. But you're talking about the project you've handled and the success stories. That's experience. That's what someone wants to see. You're talking about the challenges. Of course, don't be shy about talking about challenges you faced on a job. Everybody, we evolve with challenges. Also, we did this project. It didn't go through. Yes, of course. I've had the privilege to, speak, especially with what I do, as expressively in the marketplace, which has nothing to do maybe with beyond the school world. Expressively for me, the Bible says he will no chop, and he will no work, me no chop. Beyond the school is a vision. There is a part of my life that if beyond the school, doesn't pay me, where will I get money from? So there's a part of my, what I do. Just this is Oluwatomisin Oguntolu. This is not on the public space. That is why I said I don't do so well with the digital. The only thing I want to be known on the digital space for is beyond the school. But there's a part of me, of course, there is a resource part of me that is purely of the social space. I've had the privilege to meet, CEOs of organizations, and they want to ask you, especially when people are driven, they are results driven. I found out that management of organizations, they are not easy. HR, no offense, if they are HR people, HR are I think this qualification is interesting for maybe human resourcing, but when it comes to the real management and leadership, they are results driven. They don't care if you have the qualification. Can you get it done? There was someone who was like, can you get the job done? I'm like, I don't understand. You're even trying to. It's like, I just want to know if you can get a job done. So tell me what you've done in this regards before. So people, and the very funny thing, they don't even want to get your success story so much. Many of the things I think I'm teaching on the skills are personal things I've found out, not something I read in a book. Does it make sense? Because they want you to tell them the challenges. Because I don't know how challenge story used to switch those. And I think for me, maybe because I'm building too, I want to see how you evolve from the challenge. Yes, I think I understand how the CEOs and the management feel, because who you are from the challenge is who I want to relate with, not necessarily what you did. Does it make sense? So, have you had challenges with this kind of stuff? Yeah, we did a project one time, it didn't turn out well. And most times I used to use expressions from beyond the school. There are some projects we tried pushing out from beyond the school that flopped on arrival. It was painful, but we moved on. Does it make you saying we tried doing this stuff, it didn't work out, but these are the things I learned from this stuff. You don't do this thing this way, you don't do this thing this way. There are certain things you don't do without money, and and they're watching and they're like, oh, okay, no problem. And it's beautiful because these are experiences. I don't think I've even been in the industry. I'll tell people, I operate in the education industry and in the creative industry. The creative industry is me personally in the marketplace. The education industry is beyond the school and everything that attached to it. I don't think I've really, actively worked in the creative industry. I don't think it's even up to, let's just cap it and say 2 years. Does it make a lot of sense? Yes, of course it's true. So it's not like it's, longevity of time, but it's the, quality of the project you've handled. All right, let's move on. Outcome, results, personalization. You want to, create offers that is, you don't want to create generic offers and say anybody. You don't want to create a generic template. That's what I want to say. You want to, especially, around, let's say cold calling. One day we're going to teach this thing, how to get clients. And let me say it publicly, for me, there's no way I've put on my WhatsApp or social media platform and say, this is what I do, I am it today. But yet there is a way you get clients. Yes. And you must learn skills. You must learn how to talk. Me, publicly, I don't know how to talk. I'm a very reserved, shy person publicly. But especially when you're not seeing my face, if it's cold calling, how more I will talk. Hello. Of course, that is there are not a lot of people that will never meet face to face. How will you get their numbers? I don't know. Cold calling, cold email, cold texting. Literally, I'm sharing this as a secret. It's not really a secret in quotes, but this is how most people, without putting yourself out there publicly and let all the witches and wizards see what you're doing. Out there are businesses, you can get their details. Am I saying they would get you on board immediately? No. Let me say it in a way that you understand. If you want 10 clients, be prepared to send 1,000 emails. If you want 10 clients, be prepared to make almost 1,000 calls. And don't be what is the right word now? Don't be tired of hearing no repetitively. It will affect your morale. But when you begin to feel your morale is getting affected, go and take ice cream. Does it make you? And I'm not kidding about this. Yes, especially when, don't mind me, let me say this jokingly, especially when you are a Christian and you believe that you are anointed and you have a immediately anointed man of God. Or they go tell you no because they don't know your anointing. Don't mind me. But sometimes it gets to me because sometimes there is a side of you that wants to be touched, and then you're like, God, can you not let me even? And that's where you want to abuse the gift of God upon your life. Can you not let me just see something about this person I'm talking to? I'm going to see so that you can tell them I'm not ordinary, because it gets to you too. You're calling someone and hello, my name is something. I'm calling on behalf of this stuff. Am I speaking with this thing? I'm like, what do you want? Agent so raw, sorry, we are not available. And you're like, okay, can I call? Is there a better time to call you? Like, we are not available. All right, but is there? I said when and they hang up the call on you, and you're like, on my head time, it's fine. But then there's someone who's going to pick up the call. There's one thing I know is there's always consolation to your experiences. That's one I have experienced it too many. There's just one call that, and it's always the time when you're about to give up. It's like, hello, and you just hear one very nice, dear Jesus. Hello, you just hear one very nice, I'm not saying anything. But it's beautiful, and then they give you attention. It's like, I'm listening, just continue. And you're saying this, and you're like, okay, this is what I think I can offer this organization. And don't do cold calling or cold emailing if you have not studied on the organization. I mean in-depth study, because you are not just saying, so I do this stuff, I don't know if your organization will be interested. Of course they should not be interested. Of course they shouldn't be interested, but you want to touch their pinpoint, and that's where we're going to go. Problem clarity. You want to touch where it's stressing them out. So I've been studying about this organization. Your kind of organization should experience this kind of problem, and I think I can offer solution, in the interim. I'm not saying I want to work with you. I'm not working. It's not a 9-to-5 job thingy. But I think I should be able to offer this solution till you find, and that's, everybody has to have their, their niche, or what is your strong point of conversation. I never offer to work with you. I just say, let's just do this stuff in the interim till you find somebody that you can have as a permanent solution. Of course, in my temporary stay with you, that kind of stuff. You get what I'm trying to say? So in that sports, of course, everybody always, actually, people that don't want to, no company wants money to keep leaving them. So they always want a temporal solution, but most times temporal solution and the permanent when the one thing is, you just want to have your foot in the room, or how do they used to say, the foot in the door. Then your personality, who you are, does the rest. But your personality is not going to do it first. 8 minutes to round up. Oh dear, sorry about that. 1 minute. All right, 8 minutes to round up. I'm trying to check if I have a message from the admin. All right, I don't at the moment, so 8 minutes to round up. But I hope we are getting value for time. I didn't even ask in over an hour of class. Are we getting real value, really? Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sars and Mars. All right, let's move on. We're just going to do this and we're rounding up. So, problem clarity for the service economy. Number one, problem clarity. What stress are you taking off the clients? And don't say people have stress. People are stressed, literally. I mean, people are stressed in the business. And one thing I found out about in the service economy, because of course I do this, the more, how will I put it? How do I do this now? Sorry about that, please. Okay. So sorry about that. I had to click up on information. The more, what is it called? Hey, I lost my train of thought. Okay, good. The more staff the organization have, I think the more problems they used to have. I don't know how true this is, but the few times I've had interactions, it feels so true, like extremely so true. Like, because it's not about I'm not saying maybe too much staff problem. I'm saying the more people they have, the more they keep having issues that is not staff related. I'm not even talking about HR right now, but they keep having quality issue, and the quality keeps dropping down. Is my experience. It might not be so accurately true to everybody, but it's my experience. And people shall have issues. So this solution, I like to pinpoint clearly, emotionally and practically. This is what you're selling as an offer. Is the organization going through this stuff? Because of course, especially when you study out on the organization properly, they should be going through that stuff. And people will not say it, but they're looking for ways to solve that problem. So it always looks like, it looks like a dream, or a dream come true when somebody reaches out and say, I do this stuff. I'm like, wow. And for me, when you're not saying I'm coming on a temporal basis, they're like, oh, thank you. So they just want to have and most times it's not even an interview. They just want to have a session with you too. And this is for me, because I don't think I even have any how did they call this stuff? Is it CV? Because I don't think I've ever submitted a CV ever, literally. Because they just want to talk about the problem and the solution, and of course maybe show us. And that's why I advocate, and I'm saying this, I've always advocated this from the very beginning of the 𝐊𝐞𝐲 Masterclasses. An average person, I know it's beautiful to have a CV, very beautiful, but I'm advocating that you have a portfolio. It's more important to have a portfolio that documents, your project work, your challenges. Most people are using their LinkedIn to do that right now, which is fine, but have a web portfolio. I was talking to someone recently. Canva, you don't have to pay huge amount of money to develop a website. Canva does webs. Canva can build a website. I mean, the same Canva an average person use can build a website. Build a website that has Canva. Oluwatomisin. That's not mine, but let me say Oluwatomisin.canva.site. So it's something that is easily clickable, and they can see. People work more with visuals. When they see, your journey, the transition of your journey, and the things you've done, it makes a lot of sense, and it gives them this assurance that you can do the job, than a CV. It depends on the industry, anyways. A CV that carries every bit of information that most times they don't need. Okay, I think there was a point we were trying to develop portfolios for people, but I think I gave up on that thing. I don't think people really need that stuff as much as I'm trying to push for it. Number 2, outcome promise. What tangible, emphasis on the word tangible. What tangible results will they get? This is what you are selling. You are not selling I'm a digital consultant. I'm selling results. Remember, you are selling what will take the stress out of their life or their businesses. You're selling results. Define clear success metrics, time saved, quality improved. Number 3, personalized layer. Can it be tailored? I remembered there was an organization, and I still work with the organization. It's a real estate business. I remember the first time I came into the organization. I came in as a trainer. I also trained their staffs on digitalization and all of those things. So I'm also used, and that was last year. I would never make that mistake ever in my life again. So it was a 3-day training with the staff of the organization before the man did not let me go anymore. It was a 3-day training, and when I go in, I was trying to teach the whole digitalization thing to the staff. So because I'm so used to the education industry, right? So all of my examples, I will never forget that day. All of my examples were tailored towards education. So I was using school. Let's imagine this is one. So the man, the CEO of the organization was in a training, which was surprising for me. He attended all the sessions. So he was watching day 1. He didn't say anything. Day 2, he didn't say anything. Day 3, because of that stuff, they had to extend my training days. So he was like, I've listened to this stuff, but can you make all of your examples about real estate and not, you keep talking about education. Are you a teacher? So I was like, it's not my fault, I was just laughing. I was like, come on, but it was like, focus on real estate, focus on real estate. It was like, what you're saying makes sense. It makes sense as a strategy, but implementation, we can't use we are not a school, so focus on real estate. And that stuff gave me issues. I will not lie, it was new to me. I just thought, digitalization, so so the man saw I was struggling already, and may God bless him for me. And it's one of the reasons I chose to still stay with him and work with him, because he saw I was struggling. So it was like, I shouldn't worry, I should calm down, that I should speak with the admin person that they should extend the numbers of, I think maybe by 2 days. So I said I can't do 2 days, I can only do once. I was being proud. Oh dear Jesus. Thank God for God and my mother's prayer and my own prayer joined. So, and it was like, okay, it's fine. That 1 day is fine. I should speak with the admin person, and then we're going to have another day that I'm going to come around. But if I can't do 2 days on site, I should do 1 day on site and 1 day did it all for them. That the payment, the money is not a problem. That I should tell them how much I want to charge extra for what, thank God, Sha. So, I was even proving that, favor works. I didn't know it was God saving my destiny. It's beautiful. I went back and I saw all the lapses, because it was a big lapse. You are not tailoring this thing to the specific need. Everyone wants a custom, especially when you are offering services. You can't just say you're a graphics designer. How does your graphics designing, how can it be customized to fit into my space? Does it make a lot of sense? Let's move on. Can it be tailored, custom solutions or custom options, flexible in scope, tiered solution? Let's trust builder. Why should they believe you? Portfolio clients results, like we said. Sorry, I'm rushing now. Value stack. What do they get in the package? Now that you are a graphics designer, so this is what people used to do. You don't bore people with what is in the package. You want to tell them the core service and the bonus. So I do graphic designing, I do this. They don't need all of, they might not need all of that. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Especially when you're selling offers. So you want to focus on, you must always have in selling service is called, how can I remember what this word is? Dear Jesus, I can't remember what it is, but let me use another word because I can't remember the objective word. There is always a top product. You must learn how to convert. It's called good. I know there is, there's the pass system. I think I taught this one time. I saw the people were looking at me like I was speaking German, and I just ran away from the class. So there is service as a subscription, there is product as a service or product as a subscription, but there is also service as a product. Is a marketing strategy, literally. This is how you can turn your product into a service that now becomes a recurrent subscription. In a past system, you don't want to sell once. That was why before, let me use the Adobe Creative Cloud. Before, if you buy maybe Adobe Illustrator, one time buy is all you need. So they later found out that buying once, and this strategy works a whole lot. So you want to create a service system in that product that people are buying so that they can always come back again. If people buy your product once and don't come back to you again, you've lost. So there is a pass model. I was teaching this some time back, but I can't teach everything anyways. There is a pass model that's product as a service where you have a product, but you must create a service out of that product or a subscription out of that product that people buy the product, but there must be a monthly renewal, or else you will lose out of that market. Is why many businesses went out of market. Even phones, every major product now follow this model and formula. Your phone will tell you to always do a subscription something. There is no app you do now. They don't want to sell it to you and just a one-time buy. They are saying they will give you access, and that's why everybody is focusing on licensing. And I've been studying up on this stuff. When I study up on things and I found them, I would always come and teach them. Learn how to say, well, I will say this in case someone wants to study more on this. Learn how to sell license, not the product. Don't sell the total. People are not selling the total rights to the product anymore. How many of you read terms and conditions? I'm sure not everybody, even myself, I don't go. At least I recently found out that people in the time they will tell you they are not selling the product to you. They only sell the license to use the product for a particular time, so they can withdraw it. Everybody is, and this is what makes all these large corporations multi-millionaires, because they know how to explain. And we just but it doesn't matter if it's kuli you are selling, and I'm not kidding about it. If it's kuli, learn how to create a subscription model out of it. That people can get kuli and delivery at this amount of money if they are going to be getting it monthly. So it doesn't matter how people will put you on their budget. That okay, subscription money. It might sound crazy, but if you don't do it that way, they only buy once and never come back, even if they need it. So back to what I'm trying to say, there is service as a product, where you convert your services into products. So you are not selling, even if you're a graphics designer, I'm not selling my service as a graphic, I'm selling a product to you. So in my top shelf of the products, I'm selling maybe, and you have product one, how do you used to say this thing? I'm not so much of a graphics designer, but maybe one something graphics and one motion graphics. Product two, one something graphics and two motion graphics. Product three, one logo, one graphics, two motion graphics. Then custom order. If you don't do it this way, people will exploit you and make you feel like you're not doing anything with your life, and people can be insulted, especially clients. So if you don't put those services as products in cages, so when people get into and they know, is it that you choose product one? If you want a custom product, then come here. Then we will now. How many of you see it on websites? Actually, when you're maybe, I buy AI tools a lot, so they'll tell you you can only get maybe 1,000 credits for this amount. you can get 5,000 credits for this amount. But if you want a custom, that means you don't want 1,000, you want maybe a whole lot. They will tell you to reach out to customer service. That's how this thing work. They are turning that service into a product. So the client is box. You can't price it. You get the idea, because everything has a stipulated price on it. So you can't say how much this is your one graphics and one motion graphics. You go back to 5. You say, sorry sir, that's the amount is there. It's even discounted. You're like, oh God, when did you start all of this one? It will give you level of professionalism, number one. Number two, it will make your work valuable. Not so when she graphics how much is your graphics? You're saying it depends. You're already killing yourself. You say maybe 9,000. I guess 9,000 for what? Or that is 9,000. Let me give you 2,500. So that's where they argue. People call it negotiation. That's not negotiation. That's arguing. They say, okay, 2,500. Boss, something done for you 2,500. Not done for you 3,500. They say, I know if you pay 3,500. You be my guy now. Now someone even refer me. If nobody say they refer me, I'm like, how? If this stuff is on a website, that is why. See, it doesn't take so much to build a website, and you don't even have to have a website that has a .com. Go on Nice Page. It doesn't matter if your website carries maybe the name of your business is Framework. If it carries framework.nicepage.io, that is, as long as there is a landing page for people to go and see this thing. So somebody reaches, I learned to do this stuff. Here's our website and it has everything. Let us know what's which of our products. They say, I'm not buying anything. That's what you are doing. Does it make that? I mean, that is what you're doing. So if that is not what you're doing, just be going. You get the idea. That just go. And that's why you're not going to be very beggarly what you're doing. This will create the standard. So one graphics, one this thing. If you're buying, so if you're not buying any of these things, ask for a custom order. Sorry about that. I switched. Ask for a custom order. Does it make a lot of sense? Okay. Delivery edge. Hey, 10:39. God, I'm very, very sorry, everyone. I should have rounded up 10:30. I just want to finish this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to push anymore. I don't want to have a part 3 anyways. Delivery edge. What makes the experience smooth? People really want a very smooth, uncomplicated experience. Should I do one very funny thing? Because you're the one offering the service, you have all the details in your head. So it's amazing to you how you want to talk about. Your client is not the best person to talk about the details to. So you want to talk about all the details, the process. They don't need all the intricate detail about the entire process. You are wearing them out. So there is this man I work with, and the day I figured out that stuff, I was just laughing. I was like, God, that big. So whenever I have a meeting with this man, he doesn't like digital meeting, he likes physical meeting. So when we have a meeting with him, it's not an insult. I believe it's because of this kind of work. So he has a very short attention span. I don't know if he has ADHD. So very beautiful man, very, very, very beautiful man. So whenever I'm giving him maybe a report on maybe a work done, I found out that at the initials, the man is listening. He's listening attentive. But there's always a point where he fizzles out. At that point where he fizzles out, he just tell you, well, listen, I like this so much. Like at that point, he's not listening to you again. He just say, well, I like this. Oh wow, amazing stuff. What makes sense? And you're like, you get that kind of stuff because you're already boring him with the whole detail. All he needs to know, and there's something called in service provision, there's something called need to know. What does and this comes into this delivery edge, what does your client need to know? It's only the need to know the need. They don't need the entire details, especially when you are selling offers. Don't put so we'll go from this to this. No, this is the initial. There's the initial something. Then there's a point of execution. Then there's a report. That's the only thing they want to know. So okay, are you sure? They want. Remember we talked about trust. They want to trust that you know what you're doing. They've seen that you know what you're doing. Then let's just go ahead with the ride. So delivery edge, what makes the experience smooth, process clarity, client dash. If you can do a client dashboard, which might take a little bit of tech, all of those things, but let's stay with, forgive me, process clarity. How can you explain? Let's imagine I keep using graphic designing. Let's find another skill to use now, or another service to use. What service can you use right now? I want to use something. Let's imagine you paint houses. You're a painter. I heard they don't call them painter anymore. Whatever they call them now, but you're a painter, or you're a fashion person. You sew clothes and all of those things. How can you take your clients through the process of, I want to paint your house, without saying I want to paint your house, and without making it extremely complicated? That stuff is what you call the delivery edge, and it must be properly, especially in your, offer when you're selling. Remember, you don't even have let's imagine you don't even have a client yet. How will you sell your offer as a painter? I'm talking about how smooth the experience is going to be for your clients if they bring you on board, without sounding too complicated. This is not the best time to be talking about the kind of paint you will use and say a emotion, something. That's not the best time to talk details. They don't need details. They want something they can envision. So as a painter, what your house looks like and what your house can be. Now, what process will you take me through? There's the initial point where we get to know what your taste is, what you like to see, what color resonates well with you, and the point of execution, and the point, where you see the results. That's okay. So they were like, oh, for most persons, they were like, oh, so you would ask some opinion. Of course, we're not just going to paint blue because blue lion paints and saying, what colors? And you can even be so interesting enough to say, we have a test. It's a simple psychological test that helps us know what kind of color, people are, that's where creativity kicks in anyways. But people are like, oh, really? Wow, that's amazing. I haven't seen that before. I think that's amazing. So there's a psychological test, and funnily, it's not as if the psychological test is one massive stuff. It's something ChatGPT can help you do, especially in recent times where the AI is now crazier than the people operating it anyways. Just a simple test, you just take it. It's just a simple form. I think brand people do this, where you just take a simple form to let us know what you like. You can do that as a painter too. Let us know what kind of, and it's very tricky. So do you know the very funny thing? You can sell that form for free. That's how, in marketing, it's called lead generation. So when you're looking at painting, your room or something, just take this form to know what color even resonates well with you. I can assure you that alone is a process journey. If 100 people do that test, at least there's something called the law of 10. A number of persons will reach out to say, I think I want you to do this stuff for me. Delivery edge. Lastly, upsell parts. What is the next paid step? After they take the first service, don't let them stop. There must always be an advance plan. Even if it's going to only be 2 or 3, don't let them take a service and then they tell you, oh, it was amazing, working with you, and that's all. No, there must be another thing. Like there must be not something extremely out of your space, but you must always learn how to upsell. If you take this stuff, you must take another one, then you must take another one. Even if it's that 3, then you graduate. You will not leave me until you have completed all of my. You must create an ecosystem around what you do. So you do 1, you do 2, you do 3, and you graduate. Then you can now refer other people. Then God is glorified. But say you did that thing, you will do all the 3. You will pitch the 3 of them till they do it. So there's a retainer, and I think I like retainers more. So a retainer is, I'll always be on standby whenever you need this stuff. And people get retainer fee. It's not that retainer fee. I think it's lawyers that get more retainer fee more. I don't know if it happens, but service providers get retainer fee. So I'm always at your beck and call, but you must always pay me, even if I'm not in service. So let's imagine, yes, of course, people do this, and I think big brands do this. So in case, yes, people do retainers. Yes, people do retainers. So maybe the contract is going to be maybe for 5 years. I work or I do not work. And it's not like I'm working in your company. I work or I do not work. you must pay me, but I'm always on the team, especially when the project that concerns me is up. There is upgraded plan. Like I said, there must always be something else they do. Actually, let's imagine the graphics design thing. So you've done one graphics and two motion graphics. So why not let's, when you've done the graphics and the motion graphics, let's move into maybe animation for your stuff. Let's do a digital campaign for you. So rather than just doing the graphics, you can run a digital campaign. So you've done graphics, but you don't know what to do with it. Now let's do a digital campaign for you. Now let's move into data and data visualization. So let's know who your target audience are really and how to get them. Does it make a lot of sense? Performance review, continuity package, all of these things are right there and are right there. I hope we got all of that. I feel tempted to do the knowledge economy, but I will not be tempted in the name of Jesus. Can we rush through it? Should we rush through it? It's just 7 of it. Everything is 7 minutes. Can we rush through it? I have one weakness. Can I have one more? The mother of 2. Mother is established. It's almost 11. Okay, 2 verses. Let's rush. So in the knowledge economy offer framework. Oh dear. All right. Now I think my time is up. Okay. That's the admin's call. 4 minutes. All right. Okay. 12 p.m. in the name of Jesus. Okay, let's round up. Identity conflict. Okay, let's just round up. Value in mind model. What's the focus? Transformation, especially if you are in the knowledge economy like myself. That's in the educational, all of that. Learning journey, authority, application. What you want to focus on is the transformation, what is going to happen to them before and after, the learning journey, the authority, not authority like power, like the authority that you are and you have in that particular field of knowledge. And then lastly, the application of that knowledge. All right, number 1, identity conflict. The reason people want to learn is to solve a problem. What internal problem are you solving? The reason why people want to know stuff is people know stuff to graduate certain levels. They don't want, it's not as if they really are very interested in learning something. They just want to learn it to get out of a challenge or to, everybody learns to upgrade themselves. So what internal problem are you solving? And knowledge has nothing to do with extrinsic. It's always internal. That's why transformation is the key of any knowledge journey. Okay, so internal crisis, what problem are you solving? Not just what will you learn, but who they will become. You don't want to sell what they will learn. Sell I won't say what they will become. Who they will become. Does it make a lot of sense? You are not selling, what you will learn, you will learn 3 things, number 1, number 2, number 3. Who are you going to become after you take this class is more important than what they will learn. Number 2, authority magnets. Why you? Why now? And you remember I said that I developed this stuff for myself, so it's very potent anyways. Why you and why now? Credentials, if you have them, unique point of view, which is always most like what works, because people have heard every other person. What makes you different is your perspective. What is my point of view on this subject matter? When you talk about, let's imagine skills now, I'm not so particular about learning graphics design. No offense to them, whatever. It's beautiful stuff. People need it? Yes. Do people make money out of it? Extremely. Except if you were telling me you're going to become maybe a brand person. That means you're not just doing graphics for the doing of it. You are building brands with it. That means you are making sure each business you work with or each brand have their unique typography. That means you are not just putting shapes and colors together, you are building typography from scratch. My perspective about skills, does it make a lot of sense? Mr. Levi, it's not saying it's not my fault. I think that's it. There was a research that says that's the highest skill anybody wants to learn in Africa now, or in Nigeria precisely. It's graphics designing now, because they think should be Canva. Because that's what everybody thinks. Why I'm more particular about it is because there is layers to. If you're a graphic designer, I don't expect you to be a graphic designer for a very long time. There are fields you could go into, UI, UX. I was saying in class last week of how, was it in class last week? I don't know who I was saying this to. Of how to a group of young people I was doing a mentorship stuff for, that somebody was going to, I was talking with, like in my presence, the person was doing a negotiation with a UI UX, and the person was talking nothing less than 250,000 naira. So the person was angry. I said, UI UX, you know, be Figma. Say, I've been drawing myself 75 VX. And I was like, wow, just to do the design. You're not the one that will design the app. Not you go design the website. You just do and it's just like some 18 pages. Basically, of course, there's the wireframes and everything, but it's just 18 pages and wireframe. With a whole lot, personal story, data insights, or as you know, learning vehicle. What formats will make it easy? Is it an ebook, course, mentorship, course, podcast, or game? You know me, I want a game. Emotional hook. What was excite or liberates your learner? Freedom. Why are they learning? Are they learning for freedom? Are they learning for relevance? Are they trying to learn because they think an opportunity is coming their way? Are they trying to learn exclusive? Is an exclusive learning for them? For instance, people who go to Harvard advanced classes, it's not because they are not. I don't think those people are going to learn anything. They're just going there for the exclusivity of it all. Say, do you know what it means to take Harvard, business course on management and something, or Harvard course on business owners, and entrepreneurs, and you're like, it's just that the certificate gives them that kind of exclusivity. So you must know what you're trying to sell. Are you trying to sell freedom? A secondary school student that has always thought more, he had to 𝐊𝐤𝐤, I want to. That's why I think certain courses courses like Forex, very beautiful stuff, but there are many people that have manipulated that stuff, and it's painful for me because they exploit young people. I've been there when I was learning Forex. I think that was 2018, 2019. God is glorious now. Because everybody is trying to learn for freedom. You just think that thing is going to, liberate, turn the whole, and they sell it in a way that once you pay this course, you start making money instantly. And nobody will say they don't want freedom. Transformation map. What are the clear stages of growth? Awareness, understanding, application, mastery. The map is so structured out. First, we take you through awareness. You go through understanding. Don't teach me on this course. Okay, you go through awareness. You go through understanding. There's application and there's mastery on that regards. Lastly, bonus builder. What extra tool aids the learning? Templates, community, live, Q&A, certification, toolkits. These are the things you're selling. So you're selling, templates, you're selling community. That's why we have the 𝐊𝐞𝐲 community. You're selling live Q&A. Okay, beyond the course, you're going to have a live Q&A where you can. Most people sell mentorship. So when you buy this course, you have that in. I don't know how true that stuff is. You have a 24 days exclusive mentorship to me. Maybe I should go and try one of those stuff. So once I call you and you don't answer, I don't remember that. You get that kind, but they try selling that stuff, exclusive mentorship and all of that. Then lastly, access plan. What's the pricing versus the value access? Yes, and this is important. Price versus, access, or let's say value. And most times, most people that don't let me bring it from the perspective of vision. Let me put it from the perspective of business. Charge according to the value you're pushing out there. If it's visionary, you must charge lesser than the value you're pushing out there. But if it's business, charge according to the value you're putting out there. So there must be a price, pricing tier. So beginner, X amount of money. Amateur, they are the same thing. Intermediate, X amount of money. You're trying to get an expert level, X amount. That's why, I think that Coursera or edX, all of these things, they will tell you beginner class, they'll tell you intermediate, they'll tell you advanced class, and they have different amounts. Yes. There are the scholarship options if there are freemium trials, to bring people in. I hope we got value for tonight's class.